Hey ladies, welcome back to the show. On today's episode, we are going to talk about this idea of running on empty and how you can start to refill your tank and to get back to enhancing your own sense of well-being. I don't know about you, but this summer I have found myself in a place that I am doing some really fun things and my normal things. And I feel like the summer is just flying by. And every week I feel like I'm in this place more recently I feel like I'm barely getting by and I'm pushing myself so much, but I don't really know that I'm enhancing my own well-being. And maybe you feel that way too. So today we're going to talk about this cycle of running on empty. And it's probably something that is very familiar, that feeling to all of us. We're going to talk about how pushing ourselves to meet deadlines and juggling multiple responsibilities to meet the demands, good and bad, of our personal and professional lives, and how this is often at the expense of our own well-being. We're going to talk about recognizing the signs of really when you're in a place that you're really struggling. What are the health risks involved with it? And then just kind of doing an assessment of what's happening in your life today and how you can maybe get yourself out of that cycle. We know that breaking this cycle is essential for maintaining your physical and mental health. So today we're going to talk about that. So hopefully we can find ourselves in a place that you are feeling like you can have a little bit more balance than you did yesterday.
Welcome to the Whole Health Empowerment Project podcast. This show is for women over 40 who are trying to create balance in their life when it comes to food, body, self-care, and wellness. You struggle to put yourself first, to maintain consistency when something isn't perfect, or maybe you feel like you don't have enough time or willpower to achieve the goals you desire. I'm your host, Trisha Stefankowitz, registered dietitian, nutritionist. I've worked with women like you achieve their goals by focusing on the next best step, no matter how messy, and meeting you where you are right now. In this show, you'll learn practical information, actionable strategies, and mindset tweaks so that you can feel healthier, more comfortable in your body, and make choices that work for your life. Come join me in failing forward, one imperfect step at a time, into the journey of health, wellness, and self-care. Welcome to your new project.
First, let's talk about recognizing the signs of when you are running too hard, too fast, that you are not refilling your own tank. I think most of us have been in this position, and maybe you're even there now. But I would say the one thing that we all probably feel is this sense of feeling burnt out emotionally and physically, that you are maybe finding yourself trying to escape a little bit more because the demands of your normal everyday life feel so overwhelming. You could feel irritable, that you are easily frustrated or annoyed at things that maybe usually don't bother you so much. You may be feeling constantly tired, regardless of how much sleep you are getting. Even if you're getting better sleep than normal, you wake up and you feel exhausted. You may feel like you are really struggling with your productivity, that you are struggling to complete tasks that are usually pretty manageable to you, now may feel a little bit overwhelming by all of the things that you have to do. And then another thing is that you may not be feeling that great, or you feel like you are getting sick a little bit more frequently, or just that you find yourself in a place that you're run down and you just don't feel that great. We know that there are health risks to running on empty, which is why we always talk about that we don't want to be in this place. Chronic fatigue or this constant exhaustion is usually one of the most obvious signs of when you are feeling like you are running on fumes. When your body doesn't get the rest it needs, you may find yourself in a state of perpetual fatigue, that you are having decreased productivity. You may have mood swings. You may have increased risk of anxiety, or even this sense of hopelessness or depression. Your immune system may feel weakened. And we know that that's probably related to a lack of rest, and your nutrition might not be how it normally is, which is going to make you more susceptible to frequent colds, the flu, or other infections. But overall, you're going to feel like you are in this state of depleted energy and you just don't feel that great. Increased stress levels is probably the one that we all have experienced, when your body feels like you are in this constant state of stress or angst or anxiety. And this just leads to a whole host of problems. I know nobody likes to feel this sense of angst, but it leads to, we know, health problems too, right? If you are chronically stressed, you're at higher risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and just things like that. If you're somebody who already has diabetes, we know that being chronically stressed can elevate your glucose levels. So it's just this way of not being able to release those stress hormones that are circulating in your body. You're just creating more and more. And then that can also lead to this feeling that you're constantly tired, or you are falling into these unhealthy habits, which can lead to weight gain. And we know that chronic stress, will increase your risk of craving high calorie, sugary foods that are going to make you feel better in the moment, but that over time, this can lead to weight gain, and that weight gain can increase your risk for a variety of other diseases such as diabetes and heart disease. Another thing that we know that happens with not feeling that great or just running on empty is that if you're not having adequate rest and nutrition, your cognitive function can suffer. So you may start to feel like you are having difficulty concentrating. You may be forgetting things that you would normally not forget. Your decision-making abilities may not be that great. And so all of this has an impact on our personal and professional life. And I would say the big things that happen with stress when it comes to our health is this feeling of you're tired, you're withdrawn, perhaps you don't want to really engage in what is happening in your life. You're probably not sleeping that great. You're probably not eating that great. And then all of these things form and become a vicious cycle that's really hard to get out of. And so right now I want to try to figure out where you are in your lifestyle. And let's start to evaluate some of the things that are happening with you today, or that you can start to identify happens when you are in a period that you are not taking that great of care of yourself and you're really just running on fumes. First thing I would say is to assess how much sleep you're getting every night. Are you getting the recommended 7 to 9 hours, or are you doing less than that? At the beginning, especially if you're just in this place where you're having this short bout you have so many things going on that you can't give yourself your full attention, that might be okay. But it's that longer period of time that you're really going to start to see the consequences and the irritability and just not feel like you're taking great care of yourself. Also, I would say looking at how you're eating. Are you in a place that your nutrition feels like it's stable? Or do you feel like you're in a place that you're barely just getting by? You're not eating the way you normally eat. One of the things that I believe helps a lot with stress is physical activity. So I would look at that to see, are you spending any time on physical activity? Do you have a way to get rid of all of that chronic stress that is building up? Or have you noticed that your physical activity has kind of gone to the side because you just don't have enough time and energy to do it? Are you taking breaks during the day? Are you engaging in things that you enjoy? Or do you find yourself spending lots of time doing things that you don't particularly like? Are you watching more TV than usual and you're zoning out? Are you engaged on social media more than you normally would be as a way to escape what is happening in your life? And so if you are in a place that you feel like you're saying yes, yes, yes to some of these things, or if you're in a place that you are starting to recognize it, I think in general, let's talk about what you can do about it to kind of get you out of this place. First, let's talk about setting priorities, identifying what is truly important to you right now, and focus on these priorities. How do you do that? First, I would say, let's start delegating tasks. Is there something that you don't have to do? You don't have to do everything yourself. And so is there something that you can delegate? Can you hire somebody to help you clean around the house? Can you get a delivery service for your meals? Can you have somebody go food shopping for you or have your food delivered to your home? With your next meal, is there like something that you can get or to be delivered to you so that you don't have to spend hours making dinner? What can you do to delegate some of the responsibilities that you have? Can you have someone come over and help you pack? What does that look like for you? I know with myself, it's always trying to figure out, okay, who can help me with my son? Because I know sometimes I can get a little bit more done if somebody is there to occupy him. So it's trying to think of things like that, that you don't have to do everything yourself, which I know may be really hard for you. And I get it. It's really hard for me too. But it's a way that you can relieve yourself of that burden so you can get some of the things that you really need to get done. And also to teach you that you don't have to do everything yourself. You can ask for help. And I suspect there's probably a lot of people that are able to help you if you are able to be brave enough to ask for help in the first place. Another thing that may be helpful when you're trying to set priorities is saying no. It's okay to say no to things that don't align with your priorities right now, or that you simply don't have the capacity for right now. We're all allowed to say no. And I'm sure that you worry about that. Like, oh, I don't want to disappoint them. And you always do this. But if you're in a time period of your life that you're really struggling, why take on that burden? Why worsen the stress? Why worsen the load that you are already carrying? And so taking a look at some of the things that you are overcommitting to or committing to and trying to figure out, does that align with the priorities that you have right now? Or can you just take a break from it for right now? It doesn't have to be forever. It can just be the relief and the permission to be like, okay, I don't need to do that this particular time in my life because I don't have the capacity for it. And then in terms of setting priorities, also this idea of setting boundaries. How are you going to protect your time and energy? And this is going to look like different thing for different people, but it might be turning off work notifications after a certain time. It may be making sure that you take time for yourself, even if it's 10 minutes a day to do something for yourself. It may be, it's going to look different for everybody depending on what you think deserves protection of your time, but a way that you can give back to yourself, whether it's writing in a journal for 5 minutes in the morning, whether it's going for a walk, talking to your friends on the phone, going to see a movie by yourself, something that you can protect your time and follow through with setting a priority and you as that priority each day. So with anything that we're doing, it's important to be consistent. So it's the idea that you're doing something consistently so that you can preserve and protect that boundary that you have, that you are not overextending yourself, and that you can give yourself permission to do the thing that you want to do. And oftentimes I think as women, we're like, oh no, I don't have the time for that today. But if you think about it, you're really setting aside like 5 minutes out of like the 12 hours minimum that you're awake during the day. I think you deserve that at the very minimum. Okay, so besides setting priorities, what are some other things that you can do? Well, I think let's talk about what is happening in your everyday routine. This is going to include time for work and rest and play. So making sure that you aim for adequate sleep. That tends to look like 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each day. And that also means having an established bedtime routine to signal to your body that it's time to wind down. So kind of getting to this place that you are like, okay, this is my bedtime at night. This is the time I'm going to wake up in the morning, and getting your body used to the idea that it's winding down. Drinking your water, going upstairs and brushing your teeth and washing your face, and getting yourself into that rhythm and that tendency that you're now going to stop scrolling social media. You're going to put your phone away. You're going to make your room dark, and you're going to make it cold, and you're going to wind yourself down. Of course, nutrition is going to play a role in this. Eating a balance, eating a diet rich in whole foods, planning your snacks to ensure that you are giving your body what you believe is the fuel that it needs. You will notice that when you are having an imbalance in your nutrition, or you find yourself like eating in a way that isn't normal for you, that you will start to feel like, ugh, I don't feel that great. It may affect your energy levels. It just probably you're going to notice that it's not going to feel that great. Making sure that you're getting adequate exercise. Find something that can be part of your regular day to help you manage stress, to help you feel like you have an outlet for any discomfort of feelings that you are dealing with during the day, so that you are not holding them in. Exercise is a great way to release these negative feelings, these negative thoughts, these critical thinking, and these critical negative thoughts that may be floating around in your head all day. And trying to figure out how you can incorporate that into most days of the week. Whatever that looks like for you. It could be yoga or walking, whatever is going to help you feel like you are able to manage the everyday stress. And most importantly, trying to find something that brings you joy. And I really struggle with this of like, where do you find joy? That's kind of outside the realm of the things that you need to do. And so that could be reading, gardening, spending time with loved ones, immersing yourself in something that you really love to do. You could be a painter, you could be a meditator, whatever that looks like. More recently, I've noticed that if I do books on demand or audiobooks or something like that, I can really calm myself down a little bit better than I would normally be able to do if I didn't have any form of relaxation. And so start thinking about what could work for you in terms of something that will calm you, but then also hopefully bring you some sense of joy. And then having this sense of a way that you can be mindful every day to stay present and reduce your stress. Practicing mindfulness is something that can really help you stay present and in the moment, and not in a place that you feel so overwhelmed. And this could look like a million different things. It could look like you are meditating, that you spend a few days, a few minutes, and this will look like different things to different people. Meditation, so this could be that you are spending a few minutes each day clearing your mind and reducing your stress. It could also look like breathing and talking to yourself and calming yourself down. It could be deep breathing, where you are doing exercises to calm your nervous system and increase your well-being. This could be writing down how you're feeling and journaling so that you can release the negative emotions and not hold on to the things that you're carrying around with you. This could look like a gratitude journal as a sense of reminding you of all the positive things that are happening in your life. This could be seeking some kind of support and talking to a friend or family member, or if you feel like you're really having a hard time, talking about mental health professional that can help manage your stress and prevent burnout and to help you reclaim and reset your nervous system. With all of this, in terms of trying to figure out how to get out of this place when you're especially feeling burnout, it's important to do these regular check-ins with yourself to see how you're doing and to figure out what's working for you and to figure out, kind of where you're at right now. For me, I get to this place that I always wait too long to ask myself, like, oh, how am I feeling? And then I'm in this place where I'm crazy. And so perhaps you find yourself in that place too. So what I'm trying to do is to start checking in with myself. And maybe you will find this helpful as well, where you're trying to figure out, like, are you rested? Are you not sleeping that great? Are your stress levels high? What can you do and what works to decrease them? How are you eating? Do you feel like you're eating like you normally do? Or do you feel like you're really stress eating or eating your emotions? And really just trying to make sure that you have something in place that you can start to help either identify some of these feelings that are happening with you. And once you're able to identify it, trying to figure out what you can do about it and what works for you, and then adjusting your routine as you need to ensure that you are taking some time for yourself and refilling your own cup, and that you're taking care of the most important thing, which is you. And again, I think that's a really hard thing to do when you're in the middle of going, but also having that progress and knowing where you stand right now is important, because then you can start to capture it. You can start to figure out what you can do differently. You can start to figure out what you need to delegate, what you have to hold on to, what priorities you need to set, what you can do right now to bring a little bit more balance to your routine, and to figure out how to be a little bit more mindful or have an outlet that you can really be in touch with your feelings. Stopping this cycle of running on empty requires a conscious effort to prioritize your well-being. A lot of times I think that we just think, I'll be done this soon. I won't be that busy by next week. And then all of a sudden it's like 6 months later. But if you're able to recognize some of the symptoms, that you're able to identify how you're feeling, assessing your lifestyle, setting priorities, and reprioritizing what isn't working for you, starting to create a little bit more of a balance in your routine, or having one thing that you can always do to come back to having that balance in your routine, practicing mindfulness, seeking support, monitoring what you're feeling. This can all help you break free from this exhausting cycle of running, stopping, running, stopping. And hopefully this will help you feel like you have a little bit more control of your health, wellness, and self-care. And then in the long run, maybe you feel healthier and more fulfilled. Because remember, taking care of yourself is the first step to being able to take care of others and everything else that is in your life. So today I would ask you to ask yourself those questions to assess your current lifestyle. How much sleep you're getting? What does your nutrition look like? Are you doing anything that brings you joy? Are you taking breaks during the day? Are you doing and do you have a mechanism in place to help you let go of the feelings that you're holding on to? I hope that you guys have a great day, and I hope that you're able to find something today to help you if you feel like you are in a cycle of going, and you're starting to feel like it's getting a little bit hard, that you can engage in something, even if it's just a couple minutes of breathing, that you can take a little bit time for yourself so that you can start to assess what your life looks like and to get yourself off that crazy cycle of not taking care of yourself and leading to burnout. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you back here next week. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found value in this podcast, please rate, review, or subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends. Together, we can take tiny, imperfect steps towards creating the whole health we desire and deserve. Don't forget to grab your freebie. You can find the link in your show notes or over at trishard.com. I'll see you back here next week.